Oh, we're all there. Great. Okay, perfect. Hi, everyone. Welcome to November. We're finally getting the crisp, cold fall weather that we've been waiting for, and we're in time for Thanksgiving. And hope everyone has a happy and healthy holiday. A few announcements from me tonight. The first one is the Snowflake Ball has been postponed. We felt like it was best to hold off and get through the winter months with all that's going on, and hopefully find a date in the spring that is a little bit better for everyone. So stay tuned, but no dress shopping just yet. We can hold off. Another, our character and community committee is assembling stockings for the kids at West Hab. There is a group that meets monthly at the Reformed Church with the West Hab kids, and the committee is putting together toys and other fun things that kids like for them for the holidays. So we would love some donations. The deadline for donations is December 4th, and all donations can be dropped off at Vanessa O'Friel's house, and she is at 2 Normandy Road. So thank you in advance for that participation, and thank you to the committee. Oh, there is no council meeting in the month of December. We will reconvene in January. And then so tonight, Amy Krause is going to speak to everyone from the foundation. And then Tom is going to talk about our school identity. Hey, Amy. Tom is going to talk about our school identity. He has an update on that. And then he'll tackle some social media issues and then his principal's address. So I'll let Amy take it away.
Thanks, Caroline. The Foundation's annual community drive has begun. By now, school families should have received the community drive mailing from the Foundation. As so many of you know, Foundation grants have been instrumental in providing resources to the school to help navigate the challenges of the pandemic. And the Foundation Board continues to work with the administration and the faculty to identify new needs and best practices in our evolving learning environment. The Foundation relies on the support of our school families, the local community, and alumni to fund these important resources. So we hope you will all consider making a donation. To maximize your contribution, we also hope you will check the matching gift programs in your household. Our goal is 100% participation from school families. The Katie Welling Run Walk. This event is traditionally held on the Saturday of the Thanksgiving holiday weekend. Given COVID-related restrictions, Katie's Run Walk will be virtual again this year. For maximum safety and flexibility, we invite participants to run, walk, or bike at any time from November 13th through November 30th. Walking or running on a treadmill or riding on a stationary bike at home are also great ways to participate. Please register to participate on the Foundation's website. There's no registration fee this year, but a tax-deductible contribution would be really welcomed. All donations will benefit the Bronxville School Foundation. And last, also, 2 recent off-cycle grants this year have stemmed from grants that were approved and implemented last year. Based on the success of the high school's outdoor musical last spring, the school decided to stage another outdoor production this fall, and the Foundation again provided funding for a sound engineer and the rental of the audio equipment. The production and the sound quality were really amazing. In addition, feedback from the elementary school faculty using the front row sound systems has been so positive that the Foundation approved a grant to purchase the systems for the middle school classrooms as well. Thanks, Caroline.
Thanks, Amy. Appreciate that, and appreciate all that the Foundation does for the school. Tom, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everyone. I'm coming to you from my kitchen with my George Booth bulb hanging in the background. For those of you who remember the cartoonist, hopefully over the course of the year, as we do more of these, I can finish some of this work, but bear with me. I am very pleased to be with you tonight and to share some updates on things happening in the middle school. I'm going to start by talking about some of the school identity work that is happening and how this work is about to be catapulted to another dimension by the gracious help of the Foundation. We have been really interested in making things fun this year for kids, and that's not divorced from identity, but it's not the same thing as identity. We've been able to put together some fun events for the 6th and 7th grade, and these are part of the things that make those 6th grade especially fun, is the Sharp Reservation trip But we have also made some structural changes to the school that also speak to what teachers have felt is most important about our school and what sets us apart, so to speak, and what the next level in development is from 5th grade into middle school before high school. And homeroom is a concept that we felt really strongly needed to be returned. Our advisors missed deeply the chance to meet with kids every day, to see them. The advisors are supposed to act in some real manner as the CEO of the student's learning environment. They're supposed to know what's happening. They're supposed to know everything from how classes are going to social struggles to challenges or goals being set. Our advisors do a lot of work with individuals, and it's a little more hollow if you're not seeing them every day. So our return to using the homeroom time is really a welcome change. The teachers have already said that it's making a palpable difference in the tone for them, how the day starts. And first period class teachers would certainly concur, I believe. I have limited data on what your experience is yet outside. I don't know whether this is better, worse, the same. If you are driving to school and dropping kids off and you are otherwise just entangled in the mess that is traffic around our school for those hot minutes before school, our hope is that it's better. If you have any specific pertinent experience you'd like to share with me, I'd be grateful. One parent did share with me that our security guards were not letting kids in the building earlier. And that's changed. We fixed that. I'm so sorry that happened. But the students can come in the building now anytime from 7:35 on. If they have extra help, they can be in extra help, go to their locker and be in extra help at the beginning of that period. If they just want to be here for a homeroom, they can come anytime, but 8 o'clock, 8:05, 8:10, 8:15 is fine. But that hadn't, I guess, gotten conveyed all the way through our Department of Security. So I was happy to get that feedback. And I really would like to know what your general feedback is on the schedule changes. You watch it play out in your homes. We do recognize that earlier isn't better. We tried to make it as late as we could and still have all the functions of the day. But 8:20 seemed reasonable. And the 8:20 time start is daily. So now we don't have that wonky one day start at 8:20. We're doing every day at 8:20. So every day is wonky. No, every day starts at 8:20. And it just makes things more consistent. And we really could tell today for the first time that kids are absolutely getting the message. And we had very few kids late today. And that was good to see. Another thing that we've shifted back to school identity is that we are participating with the elementary school and the high school in running a district-wide Pledge of Allegiance during first period. We can't do it during homeroom because the high school isn't in session until after homeroom. So all three schools participate at about 8:32, and the elementary students at the moment are the ones reading the pledge of, or saying the Pledge of Allegiance for all of us. And people in all three schools are participating in this simultaneously. There's a lot of value in that. And there's a lot of important messages about what we value and what we believe in and how we are going to start our days. And while saying the Pledge of Allegiance is not an anomaly in the middle school or in the other schools, it's nice to know that it is happening ubiquitously and daily. So I am very pleased and proud of that. Other parts of identity, before I get to how the foundation is going to help us move this work to a different dimension. And before I do, if you're an 8th grade parent, you've heard me talk about 6th and 7th grade students having these trips to Sharp Reservation. We have not forgotten about the 8th graders. The 8th graders are going to have a trip to bowl in December. We're going to rent out the bowling alley in White Plains by the county center. And the events have not been determined yet, but what you need to know about 8th graders and planning any kind of event, it has to be cheesy and it has to be ironic. So it's not going to be anything super competitive unless it's really, really cheesy. So yes, we'll have the bumpers out and maybe the strobe lights on and what have you, but we think that the kids, they've been bowling enough. They've been to plenty of birthday parties and other events, but we think that this is a shared activity that just for fun that they will enjoy. We are in the process of also looking at other trips that we may take this year for different grade levels. And I don't want to say too much because we are only in the fact-finding stages, but we are looking at some potential overnight trips too. And we just don't know if some of the places that we are looking at have significant restrictions. Like going to New York City is not possible for us because you can't go into any public space if you don't have a vaccine card. Not every student has a vaccine card. And that's a family issue in New York State at this point. And it's not something that we want to weigh in on. And we're not going to plan a trip where some students can't come. That's just not going to happen. We don't operate like that. So we are looking at what trips are possible, both in our region and outside our region. And as we know more about those things, we will certainly let you know. But again, trips are not the identity of the school. They are just one of the things that students look to and say, in my school, I know when I'm this age, I get to do this. And when I'm this age, I get to do this, and so on. That scaffold is an important part of having school identity solidified for our students. They also are participating with this work in new and exciting ways. And I'd like to share just a little bit about my work with the student government. We have some tenacious student government representatives who want answers and they want to make a difference. And we've spent several sessions talking about specific rules and why they're not fair, and we're getting to know each other and talking through some things. But in our last session, we hit gold. We hit gold because they said to me during the meeting, basically said, what is the discipline code? Like how do you determine what happens when somebody does something wrong in a classroom? I don't know. We kind of make it up. It's not really that concretized. There are too many potential issues and too many variations on a theme to have a flow chart or any kind of a spreadsheet to know that. However, we do try and make responses to disciplinary action as consistent as possible. And then they really got to the heart of the matter. and they said, well, that's fine. We understand if your cell phone goes off in class, it's going to be the same thing for everyone. We get that. That's fine. But what if you're asked to leave the classroom? What if you are told that you can't be here now because you've done something that is disrupting other people from learning or what have you? Or they just you get sent out. And I listened and they said, where is the student's opportunity to tell their side of the story? Not to you, because you weren't there, but to the teacher. The teacher probably doesn't give the student that much time to wax eloquently about why they were doing something that got them kicked out of class in the middle of class. We have to agree on that. So this is brilliant. And this is restorative justice in action. And this is what we want our kids doing. So we started to brainstorm what it would look like if a student was asked to leave class, that they have a meeting later in the day with the teacher and a counselor or myself or Mr. Lassane, not to determine what the infraction will be, but to let people talk and let them work through what happened so that A, they can clear the air, B, they can make a plan for reentry the next day that has no energy tied to it and that everybody feels like it's going to be okay, and C, that we can make sure that both teacher and student are feeling that they've been heard and that they understand what's going on. And sometimes teachers will, I think, find that there's more to the story. And sometimes they won't, but it is this idea of this triangulation of experience, especially among the two people who were between the two people who were in the room, that is missing right now. Now, alert listeners may be saying, how often does this happen that people are getting sent out of class? It doesn't really happen that often. But when it does, this is part of school identity. This sets us apart from other schools if we're able to do this. If we're able to make this a policy that is something that we can work on and engage with, I think it would be an extraordinary value add to our school, and certainly it would be part of something that students would understand more about the place in which they live and work. And I must tell you, I could have sat around with Ann Meyer and Joe McCora and talked about discipline for 3 weeks, and we wouldn't have come to that. It took the constituents that are most deeply involved with this work to and with this issue to be empowered to want to discuss it and to change this. So we have work to do. This isn't starting Monday, but we will be talking about it as a faculty, and I think we have some good ideas for how to make sure these conferences happen. And the conferences we are thinking will take 2, 3, at the maximum 4 minutes. So they're not going to tax anybody's time too much. But again, the importance of what it means to the overall organization, I think, is very strong. So how is the foundation going to help us with this work? Well, we have a design thinking firm that has worked with our district in different capacities. They worked with us in the middle school at the end of last year very successfully, but really their main work has been with the high school. The name of the company that does this consultancy is NRUSC. And NRUSC has the ability to help us take good ideas, to help us take our daily experience and really examined it through different lenses, through sharper lenses, through global lenses, if you will. What are private schools doing on X issue? What are schools in Europe doing on Y issues? Have you thought, this is nice, I'm glad you've got this little goal, but you need to bring that up here. And they have the luxury of being an international firm, and they have clientele all over Europe, Canada, and the United States, and they may have some in Australia as well, but they are, oh, and I'm sorry, in Africa too. They do have some African clients. The purpose of bringing NRUSC in is to deepen and strengthen our goals, deepen and strengthen our conversations, and to synthesize what individuals, constituent groups have to say about issues. That includes parents, by the way. So fairly soon, I would say between Thanksgiving and Christmas, we will start to have some focus groups with parents to talk about some of the same issues that we're talking about in school with teachers and also with students, and but from parental perspective. Those meetings will likely, I'll likely be there for some. For some, I will not be there, and that's purposeful. I also want people to say what they want to say with NRUSC there, but not me there, so that you can speak your mind. You can tell them it's not the school that's the problem, it's the principle of the thing, which is, that's fine. You can say whatever you want. This is the purpose of a focus group. You really want people to be able to say what they're thinking. And again, NRUSC then can take those conversations, can take that data, can look for the common themes, can negate outliers, and can help us determine what this work really looks like and what are the artifacts that we're going to need to produce to prove to ourselves, to our parent community, and to our larger community that that there is work that is done in a scaffold that is different than elementary school and different than high school and vital in the course of becoming who you are. And this is work that is, I'm sure at times it will be arduous, but I think it's essential. And without NRUSC's help, as I said to the foundation, I really believe that Ann, Joe, Mara, and I could sit in a room and come up with good stuff, nice little posters, but we wouldn't have a substantive, deeply valuable product that was representational of what we all think about our school. And we look forward to that. So I'm happy about that. Moving from school identity, I'd like to talk a little bit about math, specifically 8th grade math work. I made a lot of people unhappy this summer with our mandate to do Khan Academy work over the summer to prepare for 8th grade. I get it. I wasn't particularly thrilled with me either, but there was a reason we asked people to do that work. The reason is that unfortunately, we felt that there were some gaps in what students had exposure to in 6th grade, portion of 6th grade, and all of 7th grade that just needed to be addressed before the Algebra 1 curriculum could begin. Algebra 1 is a high school level class. There are literally 180 topics on 180 days. There is no time for the teacher to say, I don't think you guys got that. Let's go back and There's no time for that. It's a very intensive course. It is a high school level course. To use a sports analogy that I have no business using, kids are playing up in math, and there is no time to address the basic building blocks. If they aren't there, it's going to be very increasingly difficult as the year goes on. And that's why we asked the students to do the Khan Academy work that was not warmly received. Moving forward, we are likely to be changing some other things in our math curriculum that I'll talk about another time. But as it pertains to 7th graders moving into 8th grade, we are going to recommend the Khan Academy work. We're going to recommend specifically students who are presently in Math 7H they really should do the Getting Ready for Algebra 1 course of study. We recommend it. You don't have to do it, but we recommend it. If your student is in Math 7 and they want to go into Algebra 1, we recommend doing the Math 8 curriculum and the Getting Ready for Algebra 1 unit. You don't have to do it, but we really recommend you do it. Now, for those of you who have an 8th grader right now who are jumping up and down and saying blasphemy and this is horrible, you shouldn't have done that this year, I want to let you know that I didn't exclude one student from Algebra 1 based on anything this year, not based on the amount of time they spent, not based on the level of completeness, not based on the level of expertise that they showed. So ostensibly, the 8th graders who are in Algebra 1 now also were recommended to do it, and those who did it, and those who didn't. It's the same paradigm. It's just different verbiage before the fact, actually. In my discussion with 8th grade students who are in algebra, it does appear that they would fully concur that if they were in Math 8, if they were in Math 7H and they were asked to do these 2 units of study, these 2 courses of study, not units, the Math 8 was redundant and they didn't need to do it, and it was just a lot of extra time. But the Getting Ready for Algebra 1 was important, and there was new content in there that is helpful even now. So we're going to stay with the Algebra 1 as a recommendation. If you'd like to do it, you can do it. We recommend that they do it. The Math 7 students, we will recommend the Math 8, and the students suggest also that it's probably a good idea to do the Math 8 if you are a Math 7 student. But we are also likely to get through more of the Math 8 curriculum this year, regardless of whether you're in Math 7H or 7. So that may not be as big a deal anyway, but we will see where that goes as the year continues. This was the first time we did this. We've never required kids to do any mathematical extra work over the summer. Yes, we have asked for summer reading. And by the way, that's changing too. We're going to streamline or condense the options for summer reading for students in all 3 grades, meaning that they may not choose from a laundry list of books, but rather they'll choose from a very short list of titles. And of course, the alert listeners out there may say, but what if my child's read them all? Let us know and we'll take it from there. But they may actually have to reread one of the titles because, again, your understanding of a book changes dramatically, almost month by month at this age, and it may not be the worst thing to reread. But if a new title is needed, we can certainly talk through it. But the reading list will be condensed. The math work will be optional, and we think that this will be a better course or plan for the students. I'm going to just move through presentation and get through questions at the end. I do see some popping up, and I just want to make sure I get through everything that I'm tasked to tell you about tonight. The final big item tonight that I want to talk about has to do with technology, specifically with computers and phones, devices. Our use of computers has not increased this year, which is good news. We are actually spending less time in front of screens in classrooms than a year ago, and this is outstanding because the reasons why teachers are using computers can be very valid and maybe the best way to get through some piece of content. But in most cases, there are other methods for learning that are more important and more facile to put in place. So there is less screen time, but the work that students do in the school with computers, something I'd just like to go through a little bit with you, because I still get questions from parents about things like, can my child bring the iPad that his grandma bought him for his birthday instead of the school device? And the answer is flatly no. Why are we doing that? And this is also something students ask sometimes. It's because in middle school, we really feel it's very important to use devices that have a governor on them, if you will, a wafer of control that we have to block many, not all, sites that are questionable or unacceptable for learning in the school building. If people bring their own devices, and we let them get onto our network, they would, it would be the Wild West. We wouldn't have that ability. So the school devices are set up and monitored by the tech team, and they, on a daily basis, offer very fast, easy, and durable solutions for issues that come up for content. The school devices are on the web, but we have filters that catch most questionable material. Again, not all, but within a half hour of a site being posted, there is usually a warning from the filter, and it can be added. Our web filter does a really good job filtering out content, but unfortunately, the internet is always changing and evolving, so we don't catch everything. But the best web filters designated time on the device and no unmonitored free screen time. What does that mean for home? It means that we really believe strongly that devices, whether they're your devices or our devices, there's really very little reason why they should be private or hidden or put in a room by themselves. It's not acceptable. Please remember that you own all the devices that your children use, and the school owns the other device. We don't want kids to develop this culture of secrecy, and we want them to see the devices as tools, and that the tools can be used for really fun things too. But that we don't want them to skulk around in the corners of your house or apartment to look at things without you. Additionally, we think that these devices should likely be charged in a public area in your house and in the rooms at night. It's very important that devices aren't part of bedtime. That includes phones too, folks. It's just bad light. It's bad energy to be working with devices as you're falling asleep. It's really not good for anyone, including us, by the way. So the argument that we hear kids make is that, but I need my phone to wake up. No, they really don't. A $10 alarm clock can solve that problem indefinitely. The convenience of the phone alarm is not arguable, but the temptation to pick it up to check the score of the Knicks game or to just make sure that Susie still isn't talking about you is, I think it's too high. And it is only the most self-authoring people who can let their phones go at night and not pick them up. So we would strongly recommend that you have devices and phones charging on a kitchen table or a dining room table or the equivalent, not in rooms. Monitoring screen time. This is something we recommend parents do frequently, like maybe monthly, weekly. Both Apple and Android products have screen time monitoring apps available. You can set the time allowed and see what time is being spent and on what applications. Apple devices have a family screen time function that allows parents to control that from their own phones. It's absolutely worth looking into. Modern routers. As Wi-Fi 6 is upon us, modern router technology is a lot friendlier and allows more controls. Brad recently purchased the Eero system for his own phone, and he can block access for a device, block a website, and check his current speeds anytime he needs to. Finally, resources for parents. We are going to be holding a real educational event for parents, as we do each year, on the subject of social media devices and helping kids with their digital footprint. But that won't happen until the early spring, likely. That's generally where we do that. But every day, our recommendation is to familiarize yourself with Common Sense Media. It's an online free resource that we think is invaluable to parents. We suggest subscribing to their newsletters and browse the site occasionally to see all they have to offer. They offer, in addition to really good, useful articles about how to deal with certain aspects of student work and student engagement with technology. They also have movie reviews and application reviews and ultimate guides to popular things your child might be using or might be interested in, and it can help you make an informed decision about what makes sense for you and your family, and what doesn't at this particular age. Common Sense Media is a very valuable resource for parents, and we strongly recommend that you look into it. So I'm going to go to questions now. Okay, the consistency of the schedule is better. 8:20 is very reasonable. 7:35 admittance is helpful too. Thank you. We appreciate that. No, thank you, Leanna. I appreciate you being here. NRUSC is correctly spelled there. Yes, that is how you spell it. I don't really know what NRUSC stands for. This guy was he founded another company called Notosh, which is another strange word. Apparently it's Scottish for no nonsense. He's not Scottish, so I'm not real sure where the connections are, but that is how you spell NRUSC. And by the way, when we do get to the point where we're looking for folks who want to be part of different focus groups, that will be generated for parents in the newsletter, and you can sign up on one of the forms if you'd like to be a part of that. What are all of the math options in grade 8? Heather, there are 2 options this year, and there will only be 2 options next year as well. The options are Algebra 1 for students who wanted to push themselves to try and do a high school level math class in 8th grade. And the second one is Math 8. Math 8 is the standard math curriculum that is offered to 8th graders around New York State. It is a rigorous curriculum, and it is a very valuable scope and sequence of study. Numbers. There are about 30 kids who take Math 8 and about 100 kids who take Algebra 1. Of those 100 kids, my guess, and it's only a guess, is that about 90 of them are going to keep their score on the Regents exam in June. Probably 10 or low teens in the 11s, 12s, I don't know, somewhere in there. There will be kids who want to take this course again because they want, or at least take the Regents exam again because they want to improve their Regents score. And yes, that score will appear on their high school transcript. So if the score is low, they most certainly may want to do just that. But most kids will keep their score and their course grade and move forward. The kids are doing very well. This is our first year that we've offered algebra as an open enrollment course. We had to make several shifts for some students who it was just not reasonable for them to take this challenge right now, which is totally reasonable. But the overwhelming majority of the kids who've started Algebra 1 are doing really well. Quarter 1 was a very successful idea, and the quarter 1 was really outstanding grades, and we're really proud of the students. Did NRUSC encourage the current 8th grade English class SEL CRT lesson? And what exactly does finding their identity? Oh, okay. Identity here meaning something different, Leanna. Yes, so it's not the same identity. These are not synonymous, and they're not actually related. And no, NRUSC has not guided us in any curricular notion to date. That's not really what they do. But the 8th grade English classes are being visited once a quarter by high school students. And these high school students are joining the class for 2 reasons. It's part of their service, and they want to engage with our kids, and also a little nostalgia. They want to go through what the kids are doing and how they remember things, but they'll have a different focus each one of the 4 times they visit the classroom. In the first visit, they worked a little bit on character identity, and in the first book that the students read this year in grade 8, the main character of this story has 2 identities. He identifies himself as a Native American, and he lives on a reservation, and he also has to engage because of his school choice. He has to engage in an upper middle class white world simultaneously, and this is part of what reading is about. It is supposed to be a journey to help us discover things about ourselves. to recognize other people's journeys as well. And the high school students asked our students to do some writing for themselves. Nothing was handed in. No high school students looked at what middle school students were writing. They wrote in their own journal, in their own English notebook. What are the components of your identity? Now, this is something that they all knew from the book, because there is a picture of things that this boy, because it's kind of a graphic novel, and there are pictures in the book, and the students drew a little bit and wrote about things that they think define them, and if they felt like they had a division, like, well, me as a student, me as an athlete, me as a member of Bronxville, but I'm also in the summers, I go to my farm. There are moments for kids to start to grapple with these ideas. And the high school kids were very helpful and not intrusive. And then they asked them to take a very short questionnaire at the end. Do you think that identity is talked about enough, too much, not at all in the Bronxville school? And the one other question or two other questions, but nothing surprising about that. Some kids felt that it was just enough, more than most. Just enough was their answer. Some thought it was too much, and some thought we don't do enough. But I'd say the lion's share of students thought that it was just enough, and that's good news. But that's what we did there. Well, Elena, I'm sorry to hear that. I did not actually talk to Sam, so I with your acceptance here, I will, because that's interesting data that does not match what I found. But I will check with him. Can we get the titles ahead of time? Some include very inappropriate content. Well, yes, we will get you the reading lists ahead of time. We always do. We give them before the school year ends, but we will do our best to have them ready around Memorial Day. And we hope that that's helpful in securing titles from libraries or bookstores or online, what have you. But yes, definitely you want to get the titles ahead of time, and streamlining those titles should make it easier to keep up with the work. Sandra, again, who's in charge of selecting the reading lists? The English teachers, in conjunction with myself, Dr. Ketke, and our consultant from Columbia University, from the Reading Writing Project. Those are the people in the okay. Who is your Columbia consultant? The Columbia consultant that we use at the moment, his name is escaping me. I'll think of it in a minute. Thank you for your repeated comments here. I get that you don't like the books. That's been made very clear. Thank you. It is very important as parents that you have a sense of what your children are reading, and you have every right to help your children make choices based on what's been provided that are reasonable and helpful and in good taste for what you believe. And we fully support that. And it is not our intention to have kids read books repeatedly that are untoward or at odds with anyone's personal beliefs or belief systems. And if that's the case, you should let us know so that we can offer a different experience for a specific book, for a specific student. We've done it before. It's not unreasonable, but in general, you need to know that most books, not just young adult books, not just books for students this age, but most books include hard issues. If there isn't a pivotal thing in the book to motivate a character to change or to overcome something, it can be a very boring book and not really of substantive quality. So it is our intention not to challenge your individual home, but at the same point, we have the need and the responsibility to offer rich, real curriculum and literature that will inspire students to hopefully be lifelong learners and readers. So it's a balancing act for sure. Jill, I see your hand is up. Is this something that you can put in the chat, or do you want to say something here?
I think that was inadvertent. Sorry. I was just saying that Common Sense Media is also, you mentioned it earlier, it's helpful to cross-reference the school's reading list with, because I agree, there were some interesting choices on there, but as you said, there's good resources.
Thanks, Jill. I appreciate it. I think we're at the end of our comments here. If there are any other questions, I'll be happy to take them. If you want to just pop on and be heard, that's fine. Otherwise, I will thank you for your time, and I'll turn things back to Caroline.
Okay, thanks everyone. Some really good Q&A, and Tom, thanks for covering all of those items in detail. And I think, thanks, Allison. So I think we can kind of get going here, and have a very happy and healthy Thanksgiving and holiday, and we will see you all in January. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Amy.
Thanks, Caroline. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.